I verified the industry data, the Florida statute and enforcement timeline, the lien to title mechanism with one correction to the brief on auction proceeds, the federal Detroit case for the shadow file, and current private equity consolidation. 2 brief figures needed adjusting against primary sources, folded into the script below. 1 auction proceeds aren't legally 100% kept surplus, above the debt is owed back to the former owner in Florida, held in escrow 1 year under FS 713.78, so the real mechanism is a debt engineered to consume the car's value, which I've written accurately. 2. The flat brief fee stack is replaced with real filed rates from named jurisdictions, Colorado, Portland, Hillsborough County, which strengthens the forensic voice. Here is the ready-to-record script. So you want to buy a towing company. Most people think this is a blue-collar logistics business. A man, a truck, a winch. He rescues your dead Honda from the shoulder of the interstate, charges you $100, drops it at a mechanic, slim margins, hard, honest work. Sometimes that's true. But that's the official product. That's the part they let you see. The real business does not want your consent, does not want your call, and does not particularly want to move your car very far at all. The real business wants your car parked 3 inches over a line at 2 a.m., so it can take it, fence it, and start a meter. So a few questions. Why do the biggest operators fight over contracts that pay them nothing? How does a $200 tow become a $4,000 debt in 5 weeks? And why is the most profitable object in this entire industry not the truck, but the fence? Let's start with what it costs to get in. The price of entry is almost nothing. That's the first thing that should interest you. A used flatbed tow truck runs $75,000 to $150,000. A license, a patch of gravel, a fence. That's the floor, and the floor is where most of these companies live, the U.S. Towing industry is somewhere around $11 to $13 billion a year, spread across roughly 9,500 companies, and the 4 largest of them control about 2% of the market combined. There is no giant here. There is no brand. That fragmentation is not a weakness. It's camouflage. The ceiling is being built right now. In August 2026, a Baltimore alternative asset manager called Access Holdings took a majority stake in a firm called Reliable Towing, a business spanning towing, recovery, roadside, fleet services, and, the part that matters, impound management. Their stated thesis, a fragmented lower middle market industry ripe for consolidation. Private equity has read the filings too. They know what the fence is worth. So the question becomes obvious. Why would anyone in their right mind buy a gravel lot and a used truck? The answer is simple, because the truck isn't the asset, the debt is. Officially, a towing company makes money in 2 ways. Unofficially, in 3, but more on that later. The first way is the tow you asked for. You break down, you call, they come. This is the honest slice, and it's thin, because you agreed to the price before they arrived. Skip it. The second way is the tow you didn't ask for. In the trade, it's called non-consensual towing, or private property impound. Here's how the money actually moves. A towing company signs an exclusive contract with an apartment complex or a strip mall, often for $0, sometimes paying the property owner for the privilege. In exchange, the lot is theirs to hunt. Some operators station spotters in the parking lot with a clear line of sight, watching for an expired registration sticker, a guest without a permit, a tire on a line. The tow is authorized the moment you walk away from the car. In March 2016, a Tampa man named Russell Brown visited a friend at the Foxcroft Apartments. His registration was paid. He'd forgotten to peel the old yellow sticker off his plate. Professional Towing took the car. It cost him $170 in cash to get it back. He was told the company had pulled 8 other cars from the same complex that day. In a separate case at the same lot, a woman flew in from Venezuela and paid $1,200 to free her sister's car. A county official at the time confirmed it was all perfectly legal. It's private property. They can tow for anything they want. That's the origination. Now the product, because the third way, the real way, is storage. And storage is where the coat check comes in. Picture a coat check, except you never handed them your coat. They took it off your back in the parking lot, hung it behind a locked fence, and now it costs money to get it back. Not once. Every day. Here's how it looks in actual dollars, using real filed rates, not guesses. In Colorado, a non-consensual tow-off private property can run up to $211 for the hookup, plus up to $40 a day in storage, plus a $150 statutory notification fee, plus mileage. In Portland, the city's own posted schedule, $196 for the hook, $32 a day to store it, a city service fee, a data fee, a gate fee if you dare to come after hours, and a separate lien filing fee that switches on once the car has sat for 5 days. Every line is legal. Every line is on a government rate card. Now do the arithmetic. $200 to get it off the ground. Call it $40 a day to sit there. A gate fee because working people work during business hours and the lot is only open during business hours. An admin fee to hand you your own keys. A car left 2 weeks routinely tops $1,000. And here's the part people don't talk about. The customer's ability to pay has no effect on the meter. The meter does not care. It rises with the sun. That matters, because most of your future customers cannot absorb it. Bankrate's survey from December 2024 found that 59% of Americans could not cover a surprise $1,000 expense out of savings. A quarter said they'd reach for a credit card. So the moment the bill crosses $1,000, a meaningful share of car owners are mathematically locked out of their own vehicle, and the meter keeps rising. Which brings us to the fourth way, the one that isn't in any brochure: confiscation. This is the mechanism. The instant a tow company takes your car, it holds what the law calls a possessory lien, a legal right to keep the vehicle until the debt is paid. In Florida, the governing statute is Section 713.78. The company mails a claim of lien notice by certified mail. The clock runs in most states, somewhere between 15 and 60 days. If the bill goes unpaid, the company sells the car at public auction. And here is the line that does the work. Under the statute, the vehicle is sold free and clear of all prior liens. Your title, your loan, your equity, erased. Now, the law says any surplus above the debt is supposed to go back to you in Florida, held in escrow for a year. So this is not technically keeping 100% of the proceeds. It's better than that. The debt is engineered to eat the car. TOW, storage, notification, lien filing, auction costs stacked high enough, over enough days, and there is no surplus to return. A $20,000 Honda Civic sells at a sparsely attended lien auction for $4,000 or $5,000, often to a dealer, sometimes to the tow company itself. The debt swallows the sale price. The former owner walks away with nothing and, frequently, still owes. Industry estimates put the share of non-consensual tows that are never reclaimed at 10 to 15%. That is not a failure rate. On this side of the business, that is the yield. Now, the cost side. What does it cost to run the machine, whether cars show up or not? The trucks are real, fuel is real. Drivers are real, and dangerous towing has the highest workplace fatality rate of any private industry in America, roughly 44 deaths per 100,000 workers, about 15 times the national average. Insurance is punishing. The fence, the gravel, the cameras, the after-hours phone, call it real overhead. But notice what you're paying to keep running. Every other transportation business needs a customer to move before it earns. Your lot earns while the car sits still. You can't put a trucking route on pause. You never need to. The inventory delivers itself on a hook, and the longer it stays, the more it's worth to you. The stress case for this business isn't an empty terminal or a pandemic. It's a rate cap. We'll get there. First, the shadow file. The real prize in this industry is not the tow, it's the contract, the exclusive municipal rotation that decides which company the police call. It's worth so much that men have gone to federal prison over it. Gasper Fiore built a towing empire across Metro Detroit, Boulevard and Trumbull Towing, among others. On the 2nd of August 2018, in federal court in Port Huron, he was sentenced to 21 months in prison, 2 years of supervised release, and a $10,000 fine. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Michigan, he'd paid a Clinton Township trustee named Dean Reynolds 2 cash bribes, $4,000 in March 2016, $3,000 in May, $7,000 total, funneled through a cooperating middleman to buy a single vote awarding his company the township towing contract. Clinton Township is the 6th largest municipality in the state. A prosecutor called him the Baron of Bribery. Court testimony revealed he'd also paid a former Detroit deputy police chief, a former mayor, and a former city councilwoman over the years. He was one of 20 defendants in the county probe. $7,000 for the contract. Note the number. The man who built an empire on taking other people's cars went to prison for the bribe, not for a single tow. So how does this business die? The threat from inside is the rate card. On the 22nd of March 2024, Florida's governor signed House Bill 179, sponsored by Representative Melanie Bell. Effective the 1st of July 2024, it forced every county, city, and the highway patrol to post maximum towing and storage rates, build a complaint process, and this is the kill shot: let owners retrieve the car immediately without paying the contested charges up front. The National Insurance Crime Bureau had called Florida notorious for the practice. The Florida Trucking Association had documented invoices exceeding $200,000. Stop the meter, and the coat check is just a parking lot. The threat from outside is more surgical. In 2022, Colorado lawmakers moved to strip the possessory lien itself for private property tows, meaning a driver who couldn't pay could still take the car and simply owe the money, like any other bill. Take away the lien, and the confiscation engine has no fuel. The car stops being collateral. It goes back to being a car. So here's the reframe. A towing company is not in the transportation business. It's in the collateral business. It originates a debt you never agreed to, secured by an asset worth 20 times the debt, with the legal right to foreclose. The tow is not the product. The tow is how they take possession. And the thesis isn't an opinion, because the buyers agree. 55,000 cars are towed in America every day. The industry is fragmented enough and legal enough that private equity is now quietly rolling it up as an essential services platform. They didn't buy a trucking company. They bought the fence. Time to pull it all together and answer the actual question. How much money do you make if you do this right? Let's run the math on 3 realistic versions of your business. Option 1. Start a commercial freight trucking company. You buy $1 million semis, you burn cash on diesel, you fight brutal competition for every load, and you operate on razor-thin margins. On $4 million of revenue, a good year nets you around 5%. Call it $200,000. And you had to move every mile to earn it. Option 2. Buy a taxi or rideshare fleet. 50 cars, maybe $3 million in fares. But your assets depreciate the instant they leave the lot, your insurance is brutal, and you replace vehicles constantly. Net, in a decent year, maybe $250,000, and you're on a treadmill of buying new cars just to stand still. Option 3. Buy a towing company and an impound lot, sign $0 exclusive contracts to hunt on private property, run 30 non-consensual tows a day, collect $300 to $600 per car in tow, storage, and fees, several million a year, and on the 10 to 15% nobody reclaims, take the title free and clear, and auction the car for near pure margin. On these numbers, that's $6 to $8 million in revenue against maybe $3 million in real costs. Net, $3 to $4 million, not 5%, closer to 50, and you never moved a single car more than a mile. The tow was never the product, the car was.